It doesn't happen very often, but it is today. You leave the Meadows, and I was just spitting nails when I left. Obviously, over the break of Spitfire. We'll talk about that in a minute. It's not a real hard race to dissect, and it's not a real hard explanation coming from him. I will get to that in a second. You know, it's been a crappy week for weather, and it's not getting any better. I know that they've already canceled Tuesday's card at Northfield Park. They didn't even draw it because it's supposed to be so cold there on Tuesday. Now, obviously, what were we planning to do on Tuesday? Bring horses over here to qualify Tuesday morning. Can't do that now. Now, as of right now, they're not canceled. But if you're going to cancel an entire card of racing at Northfield Park, I suspect it would be likely that the Meadows, who doesn't even race on Tuesday, will cancel Tuesday's qualifiers. And, you know, as Tim said, they might move them to Wednesday. Wednesday's supposed to be as cold or colder. So a real cold snap, what they call a polar vortex, coming our way for, I guess, the latter part of Sunday into Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Thursday, it's supposed to break a little bit, but still be chilly. So what took place today? Patrick the Piranha. Now, I told you guys this back when I raced him, and he kind of shot through late in the numbers. I think it was this class, actually, 3,500 or something. He shot through late. He raced good. You're like, oh, he's sitting on a good mile. And then I left with him and got away in the two-hole, and he faded. I think Aaron drove him after that, and he got away fourth, was first over into a class he should have beat, but ended up a beat second. And then to come out today, Patrick is a weird horse. Now, he's older. He slipped a little bit. That is undeniable. You know it. I know it. It's just racing. He slipped a little bit from the open pacer he was. He's not lame. He doesn't have any soreness issues. There's nothing ailing him. He's just in a funk. And when you're in sports, it's a tough place to be, in a funk. It doesn't matter whether you're a baseball player or football player. Things just aren't going your way. They're not going your way. And it's tough to shake that monkey. And it certainly is the case for Patrick the Piranha. You know, even when he was good, if he was in the open but just a step off the open, you couldn't leave with him. He's not a good leaver, and he'll trick you because he can leave. So I'm thinking today, you know what would be easiest is just get him over to the front, let Hunter Myers go. You know he's coming. Follow him, be 1-2. But you can't drive. You can't think that way with Patrick the Piranha. Some of his best races came in places he shouldn't have been able to win from. The day he went in 48-4, I was first over, getting into the last turn against the best horses in the Meadows at the time. He's come from way out of it. He's come from in the tool. You can race him on the front when he's on his game. It's pretty clear he's not on his game. And it doesn't matter if you get a good two-hole trip. He doesn't care. So two things are going to happen. He is flat. He's a little dead right now. We're going to give him a week off, and I'm going to take him over to Northfield Park. We're going to race him in the bottom class at Northfield. And if he races like that, we have two options. Sell him for pennies on the dollar, which I don't think is very wise. Or turn him out for a few weeks. Bring him back, which makes more sense. I will tell you this, you want to talk about how flat he is. You guys know when Patrick comes on the track and he's throwing his head, he's rooting his head, and he's rude, that's when he's at his best, right? When he makes your 3, 4, 5 minutes before the race a frustrating experience, that's generally when he's on. And you could never race him without a snake cord. He's just too aggressive, too grabby. We raced him today. You could have raced him you could have just tied the head, put the lines on the head halter. Just a limp noodle the whole way. Coming off the car, following. At no point did he give me a feeling he wanted to attack. And at every point of the race, he felt he just wanted to go home. As I said, there's no lameness. There's nothing bothering him. He's not on the line. He seems fine. He just isn't. So we'll do what we always do. First off, we'll take blood. I think we're going to give him a week off, so probably Monday. There's not going to be a whole lot going on next week, so probably Monday we'll draw blood on Patrick the Piranha. See if there's anything that jumps off the page, but I know Tim has been drawing blood, and I think, quite frankly, he is just in a funk. How do we shake him out of it? I don't know. it's a weird situation to be in, because we had him when he was at his best, and now he is not at his best. So can he make his way back down that path? Certainly not to be a 48 or 49 or 50 pacer, but can he make his way back down that path to be a competent racehorse? I hope so. I don't see why he couldn't. He might be 10, but he's not 10,000. I think Patrick will come around. I can't say that it'll happen in 2 weeks at Northfield. That will be a big race for us, because it'll decide whether we're going to give him a little bit of time off or whether he can shift gears and race in Northfield and back to the Meadows and down to Miami Valley. That'll be up to Patrick. Now, International Man, as I said, Mother Nature is about to be quite rude with us over the next week. Well, she was quite rude today. Poor International Man's got that big sprawly gait. He's got lots of weight on up front, and he had to race in a snowbank. He did what he could. It frustrates me a little bit, because I'm looking at him. I'm sitting behind him saying, you should be stronger than this. It's not that he's horribly weak. He's just present. I think on a hard track today, he wins. Quite frankly, I think on any track, dry, without 3 inches of snow on it, he wins. But that's not racing. We all have to race in the same climate. And it was definitely a blizzard when I raced International Man. So he raced as good as he could to be third. I can tell you he did everything he could to get there. Just couldn't. And then we came to Spitfire. Now, a lot goes into what you saw in Spitfire's race. When I warmed him up, he warmed up good. When he trained good. Here's the thing. In Southern Ohio, they don't use a lot of cork, right? Because it's a little warmer climate, but it's been frigid down there. And I would bet very, very good money that he probably did need a little grab down there and didn't have enough. That's nobody's fault, because with Spitfire, you can't have his hobbles too tight. I wish I had them a little tighter today. And you can't have too much grab on him. He just doesn't perform as well when he warmed up. Now, the thing about horses that don't have a lot of grab on, when you really have a good hold on them, they feel great. It's when you release them a little bit and ask them to pace or drop forward, then you feel them slip. You see those steps going to the quarter pole? If Ronnie Wren didn't release me to the front, I'm out the whole way, no problem. Because I was going all I could to get there 28-4 and keep them together, which is important, because in that same very turn is where I lost him. That turn is a little deeper. It is a little icier than the other one. I have no idea why. I can't tell you why, because I don't know. Trotted the second quarter in 28 apiece. Trotted the third quarter in 28 apiece. Probably going to win at 53 or 54. He was good. Just couldn't get through that last turn. He tried, put a couple of reels. We know Spitfire obviously is a good horse. You see a horse that runs on the front end, my first inclination is not a very good horse. Good horses that aren't lame don't generally run on the front end. Don't generally run down by the wire. They're winners. And Spitfire overseas is a good horse. For him to run, something had to go awry. And you can see it in that very same turn, going around the first turn. We're going 28-4. And Ronnie's almost bent over backwards, letting me go. After I got him out of that turn and down the stretch, he was okay. Down the back stretch, he was okay. That very same turn, he's gone. I know that Ronnie's horse can't trot the turn real good. He's gone. I don't know how 2, 3, 4 lengths he was, but he was accelerating as he was doing it. He was going to win the race by, I don't know. Now, Spencer Carrick's horse has been racing good. It doesn't matter. I was going to win the race. Just could not get him through that latter part of the turn. And I set him up going into the turn, too. I had a pretty good hold of him going into the turn. I let him trot down the backstretch because I didn't want Ronnie to be right on my helmet. I just wanted to make it difficult for everybody. I'm up the quarter in 29 seconds, going to go a mile 54 in a piece. There isn't anybody going to catch him. But I just could not get him through that last turn. And I need his hobbles a hold tighter. Yes, you have to go with a lot more grab on an icy track with Spitfire. You know, he came from Southern Ohio. He didn't have a ton of grab on, and I think that's indicative also. You know, to be able to race in Southern Ohio is great, but the weather they got in Southern Ohio over the last 2 weeks is not Southern Ohio weather, right? And I don't think the track is in Southern Ohio shape. I think it is a little icy. So that break last week, probably very similar to the one you saw here today. And why I'm so angry is because it's such a mundane, stupid thing to say, we just have to put cork on. I can't pull up and say, we need more grab on this horse. That has to be a game time decision, not after the game decision. I knew what was on the horse part of the way out. I thought the way you warmed up, we had enough grab, but remember what I told you. You don't really see those wrinkles when they're slipping until you're asking them to perform at that level they have to win a race. He was almost good enough and almost had enough grab, but didn't. So now we got to qualify him. Now we get to fast forward to the other problem. There'll be no qualifiers here on Tuesday. We may have to take him over and qualify him at Northfield Park on Tuesday. Do you know how frustrating that is to have a horse that was just going to win in 54? That doesn't generally make breaks. Yeah, he made one last week, but I would bet good money the break last week was for the exact same reason that it was today. I would bet very good money because the power of Spitfire overseas was still there. The strength. He was going to win in 53 and 4, 54, 54 and 1, and quite handily. Wasn't laying on the line. Yeah, he was bumpy. I just told you why. It's my 2 cents. It's my take on it. And it will come to fruition. We'll be able to see if I'm right or I'm wrong. This is one of those situations where I'm like, well, I guess we'll never know. Oh, we'll know because we're going to put grab on him. And we'll see if he looks like that. We'll see if he makes a break in the last turn or offers to make a break again. He's always had a little bumpiness to him. He's done that since the day we trained him down, since we were training him down. You go back and look at Spitfire overseas. His first lifetime start, he was a winner here in 55. Wore the hobbles a little tight at 2, but would still get out of gear and would make breaks. You'd have to hold them together. So the wrinkles in Spitfire, they've been there forever. But that's not Spitfire overseas. And we'll be able to see if I'm right or I'm wrong. He'll have lots of grab on his next start. At the Meadows, likely. It's not going to be at Northfield, so for sure it'll be at the Meadows. See how he does and see if I'm right or see if I'm wrong. Anyway, I am angry. It's frustrating when, international man, that point of the card. Look at Spitfire's race. Not a flake of snow coming out of the sky. Now the track was deep, so there's not much, a huge difference. But earlier on in the card, I think international man was a winner. And the thing with Patrick, I'm frustrated for him. And a little angry at myself. I know Patrick. I've been in this situation when he was faster also, where you just can't. A good trip is not an important thing to Patrick the Piranha. Being sharp and racing the way he wants to race is the most important thing with Patrick the Piranha. So he's going to come over to Ohio. We're going to give him a week off. We'll race him at Northfield Park. International man will continue to race there. When he gets out of that class, if he's good enough to do in the class here, fine. Otherwise, he can either go to Northfield or Miami Valley. I think he trot 57 over Miami Valley, 56 in the piece. I don't know if that even puts him at the track. It may not, quite frankly. But at Northfield, I know he can do. So there's places to race international man. He didn't. I was going to say he squandered a win today. It wasn't his fault. He got taken away from him. And then Spitfire, as I said, I think a pretty easy fix. So that is today. Frustrating day. I have to get a hold of Curtis again because my intention is if they open the track tomorrow morning, I want to be on the track tomorrow morning and training the babies for you. I will tell you this, Sterling Hanover won't be going tomorrow. I trained him today, and he was a little rude on the track, so I'm gonna expedite that castration form for old Sterling, and he's gonna go from we might castrate him to he is going to be castrated tomorrow morning by mid-morning. And it's just the way it is. This is the same situation we get into with Maury, right? Although I don't expect you to know better, I do expect you to put an honest effort into training. When it comes to Sterling, what I saw today was a horse just a little bit rude and didn't really care that I was upset about it. That's fine. We'll see if he cares in a month or so. I'm sure he will. But it's just one of those things, right? I can't give you any other explanation than he shouldn't be a gully. He shouldn't be a stud. Simple as that. So, everybody else will go. And I will, one parting thought about what I just said about Sterling Hanover. It is important to recognize that I did use another horse that was very rude, very ignorant at this time of year, and that was Memento Mori. He set a world record last year. So I have zero concerns about castrating him, especially after, I can assure you this. Trust me about one thing. If we hadn't have castrated Memento Mori, we wouldn't be talking about Memento Mori right now. I can tell you that right now. He was very rude, and sometimes they just need a little bit of help moving forward. A little too moody, a little too rude, and castrating them generally helps that. So that's what'll go on with our boy Sterling tomorrow afternoon. I will come over here. I can tell you this. It's supposed to be cold Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, which is going to screw up everything, but it's not supposed to be cold tomorrow. And if I get over here and it's a swamp, it's going to really frustrate me. Anyway, not a good day for me. A little frustrated, a little angry. I hope you had a better day wherever you are, whatever you're doing. But you know what? There's always another day, there's always another week, there's always another race. We'll get these guys squared away for